Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Iranian foreign minister says Israel's attack betrayal of diplomacy with the US as diplomatic efforts are underway in Geneva to find solution in the Israel-Iran conflict between foreign ministers of Britain, France, Germany and Iran. Prime Minister Narendra Modi flags off first Made in India locomotive manufactured for global market in Bihar. The state-of-the-art locomotive will be exported to Republic of Guinea. In a largest ever data breach, 16 billion usernames, password credentials from Apple, Google and Facebook compromised. And in a historic step, UK MPs vote in favour of assisted dying law, paving the way for the country's biggest social change in a generation. Another day of attacks and counterattacks continued between Iran and Israel. The week-old conflict seems to be escalating with every passing day, with no sign yet of an exit strategy from either side. In the latest update, Iran has arrested Mossad agents sending information on Iranian air defense installations to Israel using WhatsApp messaging app. Meanwhile, Israel claimed that an Iranian nuclear scientist was killed in a strike on a building in Tehran on Friday. Earlier, the Israeli military said it carried out strikes on dozens of military targets in Iran overnight, including the Organization of Defensive Innovation and Research that it said is involved in Iran's nuclear weapons development. The internet in Iran has been almost completely shut down. Israeli military spokesman Brigadier General Efi Defrin told a briefing that the army was ready to deepen its strikes in Iran until all goals of the operation were achieved. German, French and British foreign ministers arrived at the Honorary Council of the Federal Republic of Germany in Geneva. The leaders are due to hold talks with Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi about Iran's nuclear missile programs on Friday. Earlier, the foreign ministers of Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3, met with the European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas at Germany's permanent mission in Geneva. France, Germany, Britain and the European Union were all signatories of the 2015 nuclear pact with Iran, which Trump sunk during his first term in office. EU's Kaja Kallas, in coordination with the European countries, has insisted that diplomacy remains the best path forward towards ensuring that Iran does not develop a nuclear bomb. Meanwhile, Iranian foreign minister has clearly said that there was no room for negotiations with Israel's superpower ally, the United States, until Israeli aggression stops. The reaction comes as US President Donald Trump keeps the world guessing on his plans, veering from proposing a swift diplomatic solution to suggesting that the US might join the fighting on Israel's side. But that may take 2 weeks to decide. Citing a message from Trump, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt informed the reporters about Trump's plans.
In light of that news, I have a message directly from the President, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
Leavitt also said that Trump was interested in pursuing a diplomatic solution with Iran, but his top priority was ensuring that Iran could not obtain a nuclear weapon. She said US officials remained convinced that Iran had never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon. Now, the United Nations Security Council will meet to discuss the threats to international peace and security in a short while from now. The call for this meeting has been issued by Iran after a fresh scale of attacks launched by Israel amid the conflict. An urgent meeting was convened last Friday by the UNSC after Israel attacked Iran last Friday. The UN Human Rights Office has already urged de-escalation and asked for urgent diplomatic negotiations to end these attacks and find a way forward. So as Israel-Iran conflict enters the 7th day, countries around the world are stepping up efforts to evacuate their citizens amid closed airspace and rising tensions. On Friday, 61 Chinese nationals were safely evacuated from Iran to the UAE, while Romanian Air Force planes carrying evacuees from Israel landed in Bucharest. UK's Foreign Minister David Lammy said that Britain is also working with Israeli authorities to arrange charter flights for British nationals from Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, Slovakia and Australia have announced the temporary closure of their embassies in Tehran, citing worsening security conditions. On to the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Both the countries exchanged more captured soldiers on Friday, the latest in a series of prisoner swaps agreed at the peace talks in Istanbul earlier this month. According to Russia's defense ministry, a group of Russian servicemen were returned from the territory controlled by Kiev, and in exchange, a group of Ukrainian prisoners of war was handed over. Neither side said how many soldiers had been freed in Friday's swap. The two sides have carried out dozens of such exchanges since the start of the conflict in one of the only areas of dialogue between Moscow and Kiev. 2 rounds of peace talks in Istanbul have failed to result in a pause to the fighting. Britain's parliament voted on Friday in favour of a bill to legalise assisted dying, paving the way for the country's biggest social change in a generation. 314 lawmakers voted in favour, with 291 voting against the bill, clearing its biggest parliamentary hurdle. The Terminally Ill Adults or End-of-Life Bill would allow terminally ill adults with 6 months or less to live to get medical assistance to end their own lives. Next, in one of the biggest data breaches ever, cybersecurity experts have confirmed the leak of a staggering 16 billion login credentials, including passwords. The exposed data reportedly affects major platforms like Apple, Google, Facebook, Telegram, and even government services. The breach follows earlier reports of an unprotected, mysterious database with over 184 million records. But researchers now say that was just the beginning. 30 massive data sets have been found since early 2025, some holding up to 3.5 billion records each. Experts warn this isn't just recycled data, it's fresh, weaponizable intelligence that could fuel phishing, account takeovers, and large-scale cyber attacks. In Romania, centrist President Nicusor Dan has nominated Liberal Party leader Ilie Bolojan as the country's new Prime Minister, ending weeks of coalition talks aimed at tackling EU's biggest budget deficit. Bolojan is now in talks with 4 pro-European parties to finalize cabinet picks and key fiscal steps ahead of a confidence vote in Parliament next week. The coalition has been grappling with how to cut the deficit amid pressure from Brussels and rating agencies for tax hikes, a move that risks fueling far-right sentiment.
I appoint Mr. Ilie Bolojan as Prime Minister. I want to thank the parties that will form the government majority for all these weeks of discussions. It is in Romania's interest that the government be supported by a solid majority, and the parties have understood this. It is also in Romania's interest that in the majority that supports the government, the political forces collaborate, and I believe that they will.
More news from Europe. French President Emmanuel Macron threw his weight behind plans for a unified European satellite manufacturing champion and called for accelerated deployment of satellites. Speaking at the Paris Air Show, Macron declared space the next frontier for competition between world powers. President Macron also called for accelerated efforts across the board, from launch to satellite manufacturing and Starlink-like services. He expressed his desire to protect European sovereignty in space matters and announced that the International Space Summit to be held in France in 2026. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. Thailand's Prime Minister Shinawatra reaches out to the military in a bid to clarify her position over the leaked phone call with Cambodia's Hun Sen. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister to join thousands in display of unity, wellness on International Day of Yoga from Visakhapatnam on Saturday. And around 25,000 tribal children from Andhra Pradesh perform 108 sun salutations or Surya Namaskars in 108 minutes, creating a new Guinness World Record. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Tanvi Taneja. News from Asia now. Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra visited military units at the Cambodia border on Friday to ease public backlash over her criticism of the army in a leaked phone call. During the visit, she met with Lieutenant General Boon Sin Padlong, the regional commander whom she criticized in the leaked audio call. The visit happened at the time when Prime Minister Paetongtarn was facing the prospect of losing her government's majority as a vital coalition partner looked set to demand her resignation after just being 10 months in power. She's facing domestic anger and the prospect of an internal revolt over the leak of a phone call between her and Cambodia's former leader, Hun Sen. President of India, Draupadi Murmu, on Friday visited the National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities at Dehradun. During her visit, the President interacted with students, reviewed facilities and emphasized the importance of accessibility and equal opportunities for all. Speaking at the event, President Murmu noted that the National Education Policy 2020 includes specific provisions for ensuring equal learning opportunities for differently abled children.
राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 2020 में दिव्यांग बच्चों को अन्य बच्चों के समान अच्छी शिक्षा के अवसर प्रदान करने का प्रावधान है। सुगम्य भारत अभियान के माध्यम से सरकार दिव्यांगजनों के सशक्तिकरण और समान भागीदारी के लिए प्रयत्नशील है। ये अभियान सुगम्य भौतिक वातावरण, परिवहन, सूचना एवं संचार परिस्थिति तंत्र विकसित करने पर बल दिया गया है। सरकार का ये प्रयास रहा है कि दिव्यांगजनों की पहुंच सरकारी भवनों, संस्थानों आदि में सुगम्य बनाया जाए।
Earlier in the day, President Murmu graced the opening of Rashtrapati Niketan at Rajpur Road in Uttarakhand in the presence of Governor, retired Lieutenant General Gurmeet Singh and State Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. The President also graced the opening of Rashtrapati Tapovan and laid the foundation stone for Rashtrapati Udyan. The President also released a postage stamp on Raj Bhavan Nainital on the completion of its 125 years. To commemorate the first anniversary of the BJP-led state government in Odisha, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Bhubaneswar on Friday and led a vibrant roadshow en route to Janta Maidan, the venue of the state-level function organised to mark the completion of 1 year of the first BJP government in the state. Hundreds lined up the streets hoping to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister, with many waving flags and cheering enthusiastically. At a grand public gathering at Janta Maidan, Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone and inaugurated key developmental projects worth over 18,600 crore rupees. These included the launch of new railway services and a fleet of 100 electric buses aimed at bolstering urban mobility and promoting green infrastructure. Earlier, furthering the vision of Make in India, Make for the World, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged off the indigenously manufactured diesel locomotive built for export. Built at Bihar's Marhovera plant, the state-of-the-art locomotive will be exported to Guinea, a coastal country in Africa. It is the first export locomotive manufactured in this factory. These are equipped with high horsepower engines, advanced AC propulsion system, microprocessor-based control systems, ergonomic cab designs, and incorporate technologies like regenerative braking. Further, each unit is equipped with a 4,500 horsepower engine and incorporates several modern features aimed at enhancing operational performance and crew comfort. As India prepares for the grand celebration of the 11th International Day of Yoga on June 21st, the government is rolling out a wide range of events across the country under this year's theme, Yoga for One Earth, One Health. Up first, we take you to Visakhapatnam, where the stage is all set for a grand International Day of Yoga celebration. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister will join thousands in a display of unity, wellness and India's timeless gift to the world. DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj reports.
Famous for its beautiful beaches and natural beauty, Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh is fully prepared to host the 11th International Day of Yoga. The main event will take place at the Araghchi beach in Visakhapatnam. This year's Yoga Day will be grand and unique in many ways. Prime Minister Modi will participate in the main event and perform yoga. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu will also join him at the event. To make this celebration historic, the state government is making special arrangements. Under the Yoga Andhra initiative, the government is preparing to set a world record by organizing a mass yoga session with 5 lakh people on the beachside Araghchi Beach Road.
The special thing about this event is that this will be participated by 500,000 people, which will be a world record. Earlier record was 165,000, 1,65,000. So it will surpass that record.
A green carpet has been laid on the road in front of the main stage. Large LED screens have been installed all around so that people can follow the 45-minute yoga protocol easily. Representatives from several countries will be participating in the grand celebration. Additionally, students from 20 countries currently living in India will also be joining the yoga event. Yoga sessions will also be held on board Indian Navy ships, where officers and personnel will participate. Residents of Visakhapatnam are equally excited and proud that their city is hosting this year's celebration.
We are very proud and very happy about that. At least 5 to 10% growth will come for us, especially for the Visakhans.
We are celebrating the International Yoga Day. We have completed the 10 years, 11th year is coming.
This year's theme for International Yoga Day is Yoga for One Earth, One Health. Yoga has had a positive impact both in India and around the world. To make this year's Yoga Day memorable, 10 special initiatives have been planned under the celebration. These include Yoga Sangam, Yoga Park, Yoga Unplugged, Harit Yoga, among others. The flagship initiative this year is Harit Yoga, under which yoga events will take place at 1 lakh locations across India, and a tree will be planted under the initiative Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. People will also be educated about mission life. On International Day of Yoga, yoga events will also be held at UNESCO World Heritage Sites as well as at all prominent historical monuments across India.
So the stage is all set here in Vizag for the International Day of Yoga 2025, where many records are expected to be broken when thousands of people will come together and perform yoga. Yoga is the new win, and it provides the harmony between the mind and the body. Everyone today is making yoga as part of their everyday lives. With camera person Gaurav Giri, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India in Vizag.
Now, in a remarkable feat, around 25,000 tribal children performed 108 Surya Namaskar or sun salutation in 108 minutes at the Andhra University in Visakhapatnam. The Surya Namaskar program has created a new world record showcasing the discipline, dedication and spirit of the young participants. The students are from the Tribal Welfare Residential Ashram School from the Alluri Sitaram Raju district, and the aim of this whole practice was to inculcate the importance of yoga in these school children's lives. The Indian Embassy in Saudi Arabia will mark the 11th International Day of Yoga on Saturday at Riyadh's Prince Faisal bin Fahad Sports City Stadium in partnership with the Saudi Yoga Committee and the Indian diaspora. In Jeddah, the event was held a day earlier with students from the International Indian School showcasing yoga's spirit of unity. Meanwhile, in Qatar, the Indian Embassy along with the Indian Sports Centre will celebrate the International Day of Yoga at the Ideal Indian School in Doha on June 21st. The event will feature a rhythmic yoga display by children, a yoga quiz, guided meditation sessions and a mass yoga session based on the common yoga protocol.
I'm happy that our embassy and Indian Sports Centre Doha is organizing a big event on June 21 to celebrate the International Day of Yoga. This event will be held from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at Ideal Indian School. As we all know, in 2014, the United Nations declared International Day of Yoga on June 21 at the initiative of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. This year, the theme of International Day of Yoga is Yoga for One Earth, One Health. I sincerely believe that yoga can unite the entire world for physical, mental and spiritual well-being and will promote harmony throughout our societies and indeed the whole world.
And next, stock markets news from the business world. European markets saw a rebound on Friday after 3 days of losses as easing concerns over US involvement in the Middle East conflict lifted investor sentiment. So the pan-European stock 600 rose 0.6%, while London stocks also posted broad-based gains. On Friday, Wall Street futures slipped and weighed down by inflation worries and ongoing uncertainty surrounding US engagement in the Iran-Israel war. So the S&P 500 and NASDAQ remained around 3% below their record highs. Meanwhile, the Indian stock market benchmarks, the Sensex and the Nifty clocked solid gains on Friday despite escalating Israel-Iran tensions. So the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange closed 1,046 points higher or 1.3% to settle at 82,408, while the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange settled at 25,112. That was with a gain of 319 points or 1.3%. And on to some sports news now. First, updates from the India-England test. Well, India continues to dominate the opening day of the ongoing Headingley test against England in the Leeds. Shubman Gill has raced along in his first innings as India's test captain as he took guard right after lunch with England having their tails up. Yashasvi Jaiswal was more cautious in the early exchanges of the second session, but he eventually got to his half-century to mark his first ever test innings in England. Earlier, Jaiswal and KL Rahul made England sweat for much of the first session, but the visitors came roaring back right at the end of it with 2 quick wickets. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.